Hey guys, I'm Mitri, and today I'll be talking about the recycling process of plastic bottles. See, plastic bottles are such a prolific source of trash that WashU decided to severely limit their use on campus. But they don't just have to be used once and thrown away to sit in a landfill or in the ocean for hundreds of years. And I knew that plastic bottles could be recycled, but I was curious how that process actually works. Before I did this project, the plastic bottles may as well have just been taken by gremlins and tossed into a black hole after they left the recycling bin at my house. But now, I know better. There are three main stages of recycling plastic bottles. The first is to sort the bottles out from other recyclables, the second is to turn them into reusable chips, and the third is to use those chips to make something new. It's pretty straightforward. Some of these operations are incredibly large scale, such as the Carbon Light processing plant in California, which houses about 220,000 square feet, or that's about the size of 4.5 football fields. Often, plastic bottles start out mixed with all sorts of other recyclable materials, such as paper, aluminum cans, or glass. The first step, then, is to sort each type of material apart from each other. This sorting can take place either by hand or by more complex, large-scale industrial processes. Often there will be a combination of the two. For example, metal can be sorted out with a large magnet, and heavier items like glass can be sorted out by weight, with a fan pushing the lighter plastic items to a different conveyor belt while the glass remains where it is. Once the plastic bottles have been sorted out from all of the other recycling, they'll go on to be chopped up into little chips that can be easily repurposed for other uses. First step is for the plastic bottles to get their caps and labels removed. There are various ways of doing this. One way involves shredding the bottles and then dumping the shredded bits into water, which allows the unwanted paper labels to float away. Another method involves scraping the label off of the bottles in a large machine and then shredding them afterwards. And this second method is more often used when the plastic bottles need to be repurposed into something that is food safe, because they can be washed multiple times throughout. Either way, once the bottles have been shredded, they are ready to be repurposed. Depending on their future purpose, the shredded chips may have to be broken down even further. Many of these chips are sent off to China, where they are shredded further and turned into a fine, fluff-like substance that can be used to make polyester fabric, which in turn can be turned into clothing, sometimes even carpets. If the plastic is going to be made into bottles again, then it will have to be thoroughly cleaned in order to be considered food safe. This food safe plastic is used by companies such as Coca-Cola, where it is mixed with regular plastic in the company's existing bottle making processes. The recycled plastic can actually be cheaper, since it uses less resources to produce, but there isn't as large a supply of it. The plastic could also be turned into tiny pellets, which are good for making a variety of injection molded parts. That's how the process works. But what are the other characteristics of the bottles that actually allow the plastic to be reused in so many diverse ways? The kind of plastic that is most often used to make plastic bottles is called polyethylene terephthalate, PET for short. If you look on the bottom of a bottle and see a number 1 inside of the recycling symbol, that means that it's made of PET. PET is made from a chain of C10H8O4 molecules, which means it's, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. It has a very high melting temperature and can be effectively injection molded, making it a good material for making plastic bottles in the first place. Because it's also made out of these long chains of molecules, it can also be stretched into fabric, which is why it can be used to make polyester. And because so many bottles are made from PET, it is a highly sought after source of recycled plastic just because there's so much of it already in existence to be recycled. So why does any of this stuff even matter? Well, each year Americans use around 50 billion plastic bottles, but only recycle about 23% of them. That's literally $1 billion worth of plastic just sitting in landfills. If the processes described here in this video can be streamlined and put into more use, then more plastic bottles can be recycled, and then not only will the environment be cleaner, but there will be a whole new wealth of plastic resources opened up. This will allow companies like Coca-Cola or Nestle to save money and help the environment at the same time. Some companies, such as the aforementioned Carbon Light, seek to create a closed system of plastic bottle use, where 100% of bottles are recycled and then turned back into bottles. Whether or not all plastic gets reused in the same way is up to debate, but either way, it seems impractical to let such vast resources go to waste. I would be interested in further investigating the different effects of legislation on the increasing rate of recycling in various states and countries. I would also like to learn more about how other materials can be recycled, such as aluminum cans or paper. And finally, I'd like to learn more about the chemical properties of different polymers, as only one type was covered here. I hope that this was educational. Thank you for your viewership.